In today's video, we're going to be exploring the globe study and the nine cultural dimensions that shape culture and leadership around the world. So we know that what works in one country doesn't always work in another country. Um, and we know that different cultures have different leadership styles. And so Robert House in 1991 initiated the globe study, and its purpose was to increase our understanding of cross-cultural interactions and the impact of culture on leadership effectiveness. It was a large scale research project involving 62 countries, and these countries got divided into regional clusters. This allowed for a convenient way to analyze the similarities and differences between cultural groups and to make meaningful generalizations about culture and leadership. Um, okay, so going into the first cultural dimension, we have power distance. So this dimension obviously refers to the degree um, at which members of a group expect and agree that power should be shared unequally. Um, so, an example of a country and a culture who really, values that emphasis is Russia. And so, their people accept a more hierarchical authority, whereas in the United States, power is more distributed, and uh, there's not, just one dictator. There's more distribution, and it's more equal. Um, okay, going into the second cultural dimension, we have uncertainty avoidance. This refers to the extent in which a society, an organization, or a group relies on established social norms, rituals, and procedures to avoid uncertainty. Um, so Japan is an example of, a society who really relies on rules to avoid uncertainty, whereas in the United Kingdom, there is a lot more flexibility and openness to change. Um, the third cultural dimension we have is institutional collectivism, and this describes the degree to which an organization or society encourages institutional or societal collective action. So this is definitely more concerned with whether cultures identify with broader societal interests rather than with individual goals and accomplishments. Um, so Sweden is an example of a country who, prioritizes group loyalty over individual goals. Whereas in Canada, it's more on the individual achievements. The next one we have is in-group collectivism. This refers to the degree to which people express pride, loyalty, and cohesiveness in their organizations or families. Um, in-group collectivism is concerned with the extent to which people are devoted to their organizations or families. So China is an example of, um, a culture with strong family and, prioritizing the close-knit group loyalties. Whereas in the Netherlands, it is, more independent and not as close-knit. Um, the next one we have is gender egalitarianism. And this dimension measures the degree to which an organization or a society minimizes gender role differences and promotes gender equality. So, a country with less, gender role differentiation would be Norway, whereas in Pakistan, they have more traditional gender roles, and those gender roles are more distinct. So, just two countries who, um, you know, kind of are different on what they do. Um, so the next one we have is assertiveness. So this refers to the degree to which people in a culture are determined, assertive, confrontational, and aggressive in their social relationships. Germany is an example of, a culture that is more competitive and has more direct communication. Um, whereas in New Zealand, um, they have, more cooperation and harmony. Um, the next one we have is future orientation. This refers to the extent in which people engage in future-oriented behaviors such as planning, investing in the future, and delaying gratification. So Singapore is, a culture that emphasizes more long-term planning and investing for the future. Um, Whereas, Argentina focuses more on the immediate results and what is happening now and in today's world. Um, the next one we have is performance orientation. And this describes the extent to which an organization or society encourages and rewards group members for improved performance and excellence. Specifically, Hong Kong is a culture with, who rewards achievements and results and, um, really emphasizes getting things done and reaching those goals. Whereas in, Venezuela, there's more emphasis on, relationships and the quality of life. Um, the next one we have is called humane orientation, and this refers to the degree to which a culture encourages and rewards people for being fair, altruistic, generous, caring, and kind to others. Um, so Ireland, excuse me, is has more of an emphasis on compassion and support for others, whereas France focuses more on, you know, competition and uh, more of like a self-interest. Um, and so with this, different cultures prefer different leadership styles. And so, a directive leadership style might be more effective in a culture that values a higher power distance compared to a country who values lower power distance. Um, And so culture is significantly influenced by leadership effectiveness. And this globe study and the nine cultural dimensions help us to understand these differences.